Good evening. You know, hang out on YouTube long enough and the all-knowing algorithm will present you with some climate change-related content. And often it looks like this.
You're scientists at
No,
NOAA
we have
and NASA?
scientists that disagree with that.
Group 1 is associated with the scientific part of the United Nations International Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC Working Group 1. These are scientists who mostly believe that recent climate change is primarily due to man's burning of fossil fuels. Group 2 is made up of scientists who don't see this as an especially serious problem. It's the group I belong to. We're usually referred to as skeptics. We note that there are many reasons why the climate changes: the sun, clouds, oceans, the orbital variations of the Earth, as well as a myriad of other inputs.
But even though many people have decided they know better than the scientists based on watching YouTube clips, there is in fact a strong scientific consensus on climate among the professional researchers who we rely on every day to make our life-saving drugs and internet technology work. The most relevant body is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, made up of climate scientists, geologists, meteorologists, and oceanographers from around the world. Well, right-wing commentators often complain about the governmental part of the title, but the large majority of modern science is conducted in the public sector, from biology to engineering. And in fact, the IPCC generally is conservative in its conclusions, in part due to government influence, which prefers not to release alarming information. But its cautious conclusions can be legitimately described as representing a major benchmark for the scientific consensus on climate change. So the IPCC's most recent report details its expectations for climate change over the 21st century. Now, their estimates for global mean temperature rise by the year 2100 vary from 1 to 3.7 degrees Celsius of warming, or 1.8 to 6.6 degrees Fahrenheit. These alarming projections have very serious ramifications way beyond the uncomfortable heat and occasional flooding people casually imagine. But can we trust these scientists? Yes, scientists studying the professional views on the subject for Environmental Research Letters, a very respected journal, found that over 90% of publishing climate scientists uphold the consensus on human-caused global climate change. This is relevant because, unlike social issues, few of us are qualified to confidently judge global scientific issues, much as with our own personal medical problems. The prestigious Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences applied an analytic algorithm to a huge number of scientific texts discussing climate, and they concluded that organizations with corporate funding were more likely to have written and disseminated texts meant to polarize the climate change issue. And further, corporate funding influences the actual thematic content of these polarization efforts, so that rather than a nonpartisan scientific subject, the issue is treated like a polarized political issue, with corporate-driven, partisan talking points reliably present. All of this requires you to actually look at the real scientific research. Any ham-fisted, self-injuring libertarian jerk-off can make a video where they think of some vague reason climate change is a lie, but to really understand a subject, you need actual scientific research, like this. This is the real research. What research have you read, PragerU personalities? About as much personality as a tooth extraction. But there are plenty of other embarrassing absurdities pushed by the so-called climate skeptics. I mean, a more realistic label would be the deliberately scientifically illiterate. But watch for moves like this.
Temperatures and carbon dioxide levels do not show a strong correlation. In fact, over very long time spans, periods of hundreds of millions of years, they are often completely out of sync with one another. Over and over again, within virtually any time frame, we find the climate changing, for reasons we do not fully understand.
Look at this fine graph of carbon dioxide and global temperatures. At least I think that's what this is, since like all good scientific research, it's completely unlabeled and unsourced. That, of course, is great scientific data analysis, much like the work I did to create this equally scientific graph. Another blockheaded boner the right like to clumsily misuse is the serious issue of predicting future conditions. Now, projecting trends into the future is naturally something that scientists are very cautious about, and they're eager to clearly state the limits of their own data when doing so. Unfortunately, this is music to the ears of the climate change deniers.
So what are we in for next? Will the temperature resume an upward trend? Will it remain flat for a lengthy period? Or will it begin to drop? No one knows. Not even the biggest, fastest computers.
Yes, since we can't state with 100% certainty how the climate will evolve, no one knows, not even the cutest cartoon computer. In fact, the IPCC gives estimates with specific confidence levels to guide policymakers, often with specific thresholds of confidence above 90% or 95%, indicating their extreme confidence that the warming trends will continue into the future. This type of discussion in these videos is lazy misrepresentation of scientists' careful, cautious standards.
I'm afraid your blood pressure is quite elevated, which could lead to dangerous health conditions.
Aha, so you can't be sure I'll get sick if I continue my beef jerky and Red Bull-based diet.
Well, of course, we don't have certainty with the complex human body, but all evidence strongly suggests we can expect...
Nice try, fake medicine.
And of course, anybody who's not mongering some dumb right-wing political talking points can see that seasons are different than climate, right? Seasonal patterns of summer and winter happen in all countries with hugely different climates. Russia has a summer, Brazil has a winter. Fucking obviously. But just wait for next winter, when some brilliant Republican senator will heave out a steamer like...
We keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record. I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball. And that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this. That's
some dumb shit right there. Don't be a dumb shit. Support the Green New Deal.